Request humbly to inaugurate it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That mic would be better because this mic cannot be moved.
I bow to all the seekers of truth. I'm very happy that this book is now published, and a subtler side, a deeper dimension of Gita is being brought to the readers. As Krishna was a great diplomat and understood that human beings are very clever and they cannot accept truth in a straightforward manner. He, in his advice to Arjuna, used his diplomacy. And the essence of diplomacy is always, especially of the divine diplomacy which he used, that give absurd conditions and solutions to such difficult people who are so proud of their limited intellect. That's the difference between a father and a mother, I should say. As we say in Hindi, सीधे हाथ घी न निकले तो टेढ़े हाथ टेढ़ी उंगली करनी पड़ती है. The first and foremost thing we have to understand that Sri Krishna is a divine incarnation. And he came at a time where we needed to understand what is the essence of dharma. For example, I have been quite surprised the way people explain him. As far as the Hinsa is concerned, that Sri Krishna preached ahimsa to such an extent that we have to look after all the mosquitoes of Delhi. Such absurd things people have deducted by what Krishna tried to emphasize in Sri Gita. When the war started, Arjuna actually became nervous, I can say, and he said, I would not like to fight my own kith and kin and my gurus. So Sri Krishna says, they are already dead, they are killed. because they were not enlightened people, are already dead people. Their eyes are not open. Whom are you going to kill here? Just you have to remove some people from this earth to establish dharma. Now, the idea of dharma, according to us, is some sort of a Hinduism or Islamism or some sort of a ism. It is not. Dharma is the valency in a human being. Just like carbon has 4 valencies, dharma has 10 valencies in a human being. And when a person falls down from there, then he loses his powers as a human being. One of the examples is that at the time of war, Karna, the great generous man, very well known for his great virtues, was caught up by a wheel of his chariot, and he could not take out his leg out of that chariot. When Arjuna faced him and raised his own Gandiva, and Karna challenged him, saying that I am a Veera, a chivalrous person, a person who is fighting, and you are another warrior. And in dharma, when I have no weapons on me, you cannot kill me with your weapons. That time Sri Krishna pointed at him like this, and he said, kill him. Where was his warrior virtues when Draupadi was insulted? Draupadi's insult was the greatest sin that was committed, and what was he doing at that time? And Arjuna killed Karna. This is dharma. He is called as Leeladhara, the one, for him, the whole world is a play. And that's why he says that already they are killed. That doesn't mean that you start killing people, becoming violent because you do not agree with some people. Sri Krishna can say whom to kill. You have to be a realized soul to understand why Sri Krishna had to ask him to kill and why the goddess had to kill so many demons. But the idea today is we should try to be sympathetic towards also demons and the devils who are spreading Asuri Vidya everywhere. And we should be sympathetic with all the people, and there is good in everyone. That's not Krishna's message. He showed his love by killing the demons. I don't know in this book if I have talked on this point or not, because he had very limited subjects which he dealt with, and I didn't want to pressurize him with some new subject matters. But there's one thing definitely which I didn't say there, which is a very important point one should try to say. That the awareness, Chetana, the awareness grows downward of a human being. And the roots of the tree of the awareness are in the brain. So one has to take to Urdhvagati, means the ascent, and not to the descent. A human being is born in the Bhavasagara, which is, as we call, in the void, as you can see here clearly in Sahaja Yoga. Either he can go upward or he can go downward. Now see how the human awareness has reached adhogati, is a downward descent. Very simple to see if you understand what Krishna meant, that the roots are in the brain. When I've been in the Western countries, I realized it much more, because they are supposed to be advanced, developed, sophisticated, educated, intellectuals, whatever you may call them. I've been to all communist countries and all the democracies and all kinds of isms. And what I realized, that exactly what Sri Krishna had said, that Asuri Vidya will take over with a descent of awareness, is seen clearly in those countries. Thank God we are not that advanced. The descent starts from the Nabhi Chakra, as we call it, where a person starts seeking the food, this, that, and other requirements. Then it starts moving downward. The essence of the Nabhi Chakra is Swaha. Swaha is the consumption. It consumes everything. It aggresses everything, consumes, just like the fire. In the same way, once upon a time, these developed countries spread all over the world, started consuming everyone. Ruling our country, China, all kinds of countries, they went round all over the world. Thank God Columbus missed his point, otherwise we would not have been here. He went to America, and you cannot find aboriginals unless and until you enter into some far-fetched places like Peru. Then the consumption of money on the economic ground started. Then the consumption of the Mother Earth started at the Bhu level. But the Bhurva is the Antariksha, is the whole universe. We are going to the sun, we are going to the moon, we are going to this, we are going to that. What about going inside, in the ascent? Now, little bit, they are seeing it, that there's intelligence also, plus the energy. But you are seeing it from the outside. That's the intelligence of God Almighty, whether you like it or not. So now we are going to the Antarikshas, we are going to all these universes to find what? So the Bhurva is the essence, the Antariksha. Awareness reached there also. Then it has gone further. In the Sahaja Yoga, we can say that from Nabhi Chakra they started moving downwards towards the Swadhisthana, which deals with the Antariksha, with the universes, which were created by the creator Brahmadeva. Below that, they moved again. Comes the Muladhara, which is the essence of human life, which is the support of human life, for which Christ himself has said, "Thou shalt not have adulterous eyes." I have yet to find real Christians of that kind who do not have adulterous eyes. And that's why people have gone to now nothing but they have become sex points, I can tell you. The whole awareness of your intellectual movement has gone to nothing but to this filth beyond Ganesha. You have left everything that was holy, that was auspicious, much behind. and cross, and one step forward, and the hell is there, the hell. There where awareness is going today. But we have not thought of the Urdhvagati that Sri Krishna had said. Giving lectures on Sri Krishna, having bhajans about Sri Krishna, makes no difference. What about the Urdhvagati? In the 6th century, a great saint, Gyaneshwara, was born. In the 6th chapter of Gyaneshwari, he is clearly described, it is the Kundalini which is going to raise you higher. Very clearly, openly he said it. Of course, as usual, everybody tortured his life. He didn't have sometimes water to drink. That's different. In the 6th chapter, when he described, even today in Maharashtra, it is said that 6th chapter is tabooed. You are not supposed to read the 6th chapter of Gyaneshwari. Why? Because they don't know a word about Kundalini and they don't know how to ascend. Because it is the knowledge of the roots you have to go to. If you are honest, please try to understand that what Sri Krishna has said, that the roots are in the brain and the awareness grows towards Adhogati. He did not say precisely that Kundalini is the one that gives you the Urdhvagati. He did not say. That was not the time. At the time of war, when he was talking about dharma, he did not mention the word Kundalini. Doesn't mean that there was no device behind it. Marx said that we would like to have a country without state. How? How will you have? I've been to most of the communist countries. I think the state is very powerful. The Democrats said that we would like to have a free nation. Free abandonment. It is democracy they are practicing. If you want to deceive yourself and all the time accept something that is falsehood, nobody can help you. But the time is precarious. And it is important that we should see to the truth that the name of democracy and the name of communism and the name of capitalism is just a myth. It has not given what it had promised. So let us come back to the saints, to the deeper people, to the people who understood life beyond life. There we find the Urdhvagati has to be, the ascent has to be achieved. How is the point? Then later on, Muhammad Sahib also has talked about it. Not that he has not talked. He's talked about the resurrection. He said at the time of resurrection, your hands will speak. Who is bothered about that? The whole namaz is nothing but Kundalini raising. But it leads to another kind of stupid fanaticism. Christians are sophisticated fanatics. Hindus are another type of fanatics. Everybody is become a fanatic because it's all a dead flower. All these flowers grew on one tree of life. They have been extracted, taken over as mine, 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 and they are all fighting about it. So it's only the Kundalini awakening which is going to give you your self-realization. And this self-realization is going to let you know that you are a part and parcel of the whole is not just a mental conception. This is the point we miss every time. All these democracies and capitalism and all these theories are mental projections of human beings. All these mental projections are nothing but your own jails, your own bondages into which you are caught up. You have to get out of it. Even to such an extent that people start saying that Adi Shankaracharya did not write Saundarya Lahari. Who says that? The intellectuals again. What makes them think that he did not write? They have explanation for everything. But he did, which we can prove after self-realization. How all the essence of all the religions are so much one can be proved only after self-realization and not through discussions. Because self, the spirit, is the absolute and is the collective being. That is not awakened within us. One may say that why Buddha did not talk of God. Because he knew human beings very well and he said, no use talking about God, better talk about self-realization. Same with Mahavira. But what are the Buddhists and Mahaviris doing? God alone knows. Where are they? But today is the time, as described in the Puranas, many seekers are born on this. The special time is a time of real blossoms. Maybe in the olden days there were only one or two flowers like the Chiketa. But today is the time when thousands are there just to become the fruit. But unfortunately, a market has been opened out where the seekers go and get lost. Get lost into the convictions and the ideas of some other person which has gone into their heads and they just finish up there. Their seeking finishes up there. They end up as sick or obstinate people. They do not want to go any further. Sri Krishna is to be understood in Sahaja style. Leela. He was Leeladhara. In the Sahaja Yoga, we believe that on the left-hand side, the left sympathetic nervous system is represented by the Ida Nadi, which we call as also the Chandra Nadi. And the right-hand side, it is represented by the Pingala Nadi, the right sympathetic. The left we use when we desire. The right we use when we act. The left is the Bhakti Marga. And the right is the Karma Marga that they used for doing all kinds of yajnas and all that. The central path of ascent is the Sushumna. Is the path of Dharma. Dharayati sa Dharma. Means the one that is your sustenance is the Dharma. It's not an outside concept, but an innate nature of human beings is the Dharma. This Dharma we have achieved through evolutionary process, as you know, Matsya Rupa and other things took place. And afterwards, we are today human beings. But why? Let us ask a question, simple question to ourselves. Why are we here on this earth? To seek what? To seek the truth. And what is the truth? The truth is that you are the spirit. Not this bhakti, nor this karma. But you are the spirit. Now, Sri Krishna's diplomacy can be seen very clearly if you want to see it, even without self-realization. He says, for bhakti, patram pushpam phalam toyam, all these things you give it to him, he'll accept. But see the diplomacy, on one word he has played the whole people. And nobody has seen the point. What does he say? He says that you have to do ananya bhakti. Ananya shabda itself means, the word itself means when there is not the other, means you are a realized soul. Logically, let us see what does it mean. If there is no connection with God, whom are you praying to? The connection has to be established. You may go on describing God as a mate, you may go on supporting him, doing anything you like, but you have not yet been connected with him. What are you talking? Something in the air. Ananya bhakti. Now about karma, see the diplomacy. If you keep your mind open as a scientist, you will see my point clearly. For that, he says that do your karmas, but put the fruit of your doing at the lotus feet of the Lord. This is the absurd condition. It's not possible. Cannot be done. Before realization, you cannot do this. Many people come to me, yes, mother, whatever we are doing, we are putting at the lotus feet of the God. Black marketing, everything. What does that mean? That you put it at the lotus feet of the Lord. That you are no more there. It's only after realization you realize that a Sahajogi would tell you, he doesn't say, I give him realization. He doesn't say that I'm moving his Kundalini. What he says, it is not moving. It is not coming up. There was a lady who traveled with me to America once, and her son came all the way from Honolulu, a very rich man and all those things. So he could not get his realization. So she came to me, she said, Mother, give him the realization. I said, you give him. She said, no, I cannot give him. So I said, I can't give him either. The Kundalini doesn't move, what to do? Then give him a false certificate, you are a realized soul, he can say, born again or sort of a nonsense, he can go about talking about this. She said, no, how can you give such a false certificate? I said, that's it. If the Kundalini has not risen, if it is not broken, the Brahmarandra, we cannot even say it is awake and leave alone calling him a Sahajogi. She agreed there. You cannot give a false certificate about it. That's what happens when you do your karmas. You don't say that you are doing it. It's done. It, in the third. Like small children always talk like that. Mother, this boy Munna won't listen. It's a bad one. In the third person they talk so many times, you must have seen. In the same way, a realized soul always talks in a third person. That's a different world in which they have lived. And they have been very, very few tortured and never understood by the people who are ruling or the people who were intellectuals or those who were the priests, and the public was helplessly watching all their tortures. In Maharashtra, we have a great saint called Namdev. Very great saint, Namdeva. He was a tailor, ordinary tailor. And when this tailor went to see another saint, whose name was Gora Kumbhar, is a potter. The verse he says is so beautiful, which you can understand with little subtler feelings about it. He says, Nirgunacha bheti alo sagunashi. I came here to meet the Nirguna, the formless, and here is standing in the form. Where do you find these talks these days? If two great meets, they go with swords, with pistols. Here he goes and talks to a potter that I came to see the Nirakara, the Nirguna, the formless, and here it is in the form. But he was a tailor. How can be a tailor a realized soul? And when Namdeva went to Punjab, Sri Nanak Sahib gave him all the honor of a saint and told him that he should also write some beautiful verses, because he compiled the Granth Sahib out of all the realized souls' poems, that you compile the poems in Punjabi or Hindi. Namdeva, coming from such a far-fetched place, he studied Hindi and Punjabi, and you'll be amazed that half of his book, which is so big, is in Hindi or in Punjabi language. For that you need Sri Nanaka, who can recognize. But today seekers run after somebody who pampers their ego, where you can pay some money, where he can befool you by getting some Rolls Royces, or some sort of a Gita Pravachana he gives, or gives you some sort of a name in the year so that you become mad. This is the quality of the seekers today, which I have to face. Whatever it is, the concern is so great. Whatever is the quality today, it has to happen. It has to work out. This one now, I heard to my complete surprise that now people, the intellectuals are propounding that the Namadeva who came from Maharashtra was not the same as the Namadeva who was the tailor, because he was not an intellectual. I'm talking about the unlimited, not about the limited. Like in any one of your spacecrafts, you have different cylinders which explode one after another and accelerate the one which comes. First one will explode and accelerate the second one. The second one will explode and accelerate the third one. In the same way, the intellect is to be exploded, to go into the space, to jump into the space is the most important thing, that intellect has to leave its limitedness to the unlimited intelligence which governs the whole universe. That is the Brahma Shakti described. That's the all-pervading power of God. That is the power of love of God. It's such a tremendous one, where Sri Krishna himself has said, Yoga Kshema Vahamyam. First he said yoga. Why did he not say Kshema Yoga? Many people ask me in the West that how is it in your country there is so much of poverty, and that you talk that it's a yoga bhumi, because we have not taken to yoga so far. And Kshema doesn't mean how many pubs you have in your village. It doesn't mean how many drunkards move about in your village. It means how many saints there are in your country. Let the yoga come up. You'll be surprised. This great country of Bharat Bhumi will one day show its merit to the whole world, in its reality, in its glory, and in its divinity which resides in this country. You are great people that you are born in this country, but you don't know. You have no idea as to where you are born. What is your heritage? There are people I've met very surprisingly so stupefied by Hegel and Kant and all such people that they believe that all these saints and all these great people, including Krishna or Rama, all of them are false. This is the height of arrogance and ignorance, both put together. Because they are ignorant, one has to forgive them. There's no way out. God is the ocean of love, ocean of grace, ocean of wisdom, ocean of this all-pervading power, which is so efficient, so kindly, so understanding, works out everything so well. But above all, He is the ocean of forgiveness, I can tell you. I really tell you, in my experience, I feel this forgiveness is so greatly effective today. Otherwise, I don't think I could have managed this job so well. May God bless you all. As a mother, I have tried to explain and express my concern. Try to understand. It is Sahaj, is born with you. Sahaj. Saha means with, ja, born. It's your fundamental right as a human being to get your self-realization. But if you want to deny it because you have some convictions, because you are following certain people, because you think this is all right, we don't want to have self-realization, God is not going to fall at your feet. You have to ask for it. You have to knock at the door, and the door will be open. In Sahaja Yoga, we can prove today that there's no quarrel between Moses and Christ. There is no quarrel between Christ and Muhammad Sahib, and there is no quarrel between Muhammad Sahib and Sri Krishna. They are all one together. As Christ has clearly said, those who are not against me are with me. Who wants to see that? Who are those? Christ was not even allowed to work out for more than 3.5 years. It took me 4 years to give realization to 7 Englishmen. So you can imagine what must be his plight. 3.5 years with all the mad people around. But not in our villages. Yesterday, I went to Jaipur. First we had a big meeting in a big sophisticated hall and all this and this, my Indian English. I was trying to explain to them, and I thought it's all gone over their heads. Nothing went inside, or maybe under their feet. Then I said, let's go to a place where ordinary people meet. And there I found thousands thronging together to get their self-realization. They don't want money. They don't want power. They don't want anything. They don't want any convictions. They want their self-realization. माँ हमको आत्मबोध दीजिए, हमको आत्मज्ञान दीजिए. They understand that bodha doesn't mean lecturing. It doesn't mean, it means on your central nervous system, you have to feel the all-pervading power. That is bodha. That is the vida, which is described in the Vedas. They understand. They live with the life. They are natural people. They know all this talking is on and on and on. They know something has to happen. And the second thing they said was so encouraging. कि माँ परिवर्तन होना चाहिए हमें. We should be transformed. It's not our mental idea that we have become some great yogis, this, that. We should be transformed. I said, not only transformed, but you will have your powers as realized souls. By God's grace, even in Delhi, which is supposed to be the most sophisticated place, where after English left, we became much more westernized. When they were here, we were better off. And in this place also I find there are so many great Sahaja-yogis who are now completely endowed with the power of realization, of curing, of doing all the things that can be done as a yogi. I hope today all of you will get your realization. But you have to establish yourself. It's just a wee bit of your Kundalini, I should say, like a hair, comes out through the Brahmanadi, but with humility. Abhyasen, for few days, you establish yourself. Of course, today, you might get your Nirvichar Samadhi, just like that, maybe. But you will have to establish your Nirvikalpa. You must give some time to yourself and some respect to your self-realization and to yourself, that is the Atma. May God bless you.